Good evening, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Crone Zone Conversations with the Ancients. I'm sorry, I had the wrong intro what do you call it? Ready to go.
That's
For the
using
wisdom
yesterday,
circle.
right?
Queued up for the wisdom circle instead of for us. But this is the Crone Zone Conversations with the Ancients. I'm Priscilla, and this is my buddy Heather.
I
And I'm so excited tonight because we get to experience another one of Heather's remote viewings. And this time it's the Bermuda Triangle. And I don't know about you guys in the audience, but I've been fascinated by the Bermuda Triangle my entire life. And actually flew through it from Fort Lauderdale to Bimini, going to the Bahamas, and was terrified that something was going to happen way back in the 70s.
I
Hey,
know you weren't going to have any problem, just like I wouldn't.
no, I'm sure it was fine. I sailed back. I mean, we flew back and we were just fine. So I guess it was all right. But I did think about it for sure. I think that was like 1978 or something. So,
So, hi, White Dragon, and hi, Leah.
how are you guys out there
Yeah,
tonight? I'm a little discombobulated at having the wrong intro.
we're so used to having that soothing music before we start, you know.
That kind of got me,
Oh,
but
well, anyway, I did do the cards,
great.
and as you can see, we are the storm.
Yes.
We are definitely the storm because everything is doing all over the place. And the celestial is, it says sometimes the celestial gets in the way, but that's only because we think one way and we're in the storm and we keep forgetting to think, it's not that this is an obstacle force, is that this is trying to center us and we're not letting it. Okay. So,
Right.
meanwhile, our spirits are doing all the shifting they need to do. Of course, with all the downloads and everything, they're doing a lot of shifting. And our humans, now it says sexuality, but basically, we're still trying to be creative, but we're sitting back and watching, saying, what's going to happen? So
That's particularly true tonight, isn't it?
we are the storm. We just have to believe. The celestial is telling us believe, and we are trying not to. But they're saying, have faith. If you keep the faith and you keep it with you, you will be able to take flight.
Woohoo.
You will not be that storm anymore. You will take flight. So everybody just hang in there. Have faith.
Chill.
Yeah.
The cards we pulled before the show basically said the same thing. Have faith and chill. It's all going to be
You're a crazy guy in the late.
White Dragon says, I met a crazy guy in the late 70s who claimed the jetty rocks at the Miami port entrance came from Atlantis. Atlantis Richard, we called him. What are you getting on that, Heather? You getting any truth to that little rumor? Let's see if I'm going to pull out my pen.
Yeah, see what that
Is
says.
there any truth to that? That the Miami, what is it? Jetty rocks at the Miami port entrance came from Atlantis. Is that a true statement?
I was thinking it is.
I got to know.
No.
I got to
I
know.
was thinking also when you've got that ocean, and even if it's just little rocks, they're going to come from everywhere. The ocean carries
Sure,
it.
there absolutely could be some. Yeah, that was kind of a slow, uncertain no, so I'm not quite sure what that meant.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Let's see what it tells us.
there's no questions right now. We're all good. Hey, oil painter, nice to see you, Diane.
Nice to see you. Yes. And I will tell you that having read the rundown, at the end of what I had, I wrote down questions or things that occurred to me when I was reading it. So
Oh, that's
I
clever.
answered some questions about some things that hit me when you were rather
Oh,
than.
that's fantastic. So, tonight Heather's done a remote view of the Bermuda Triangle area. And as always, she does her remote view, and I do the rundown, the research and the rundown for the show. So, and then I don't give it to her until the morning of, usually, or the night before the show. And what she was just telling me is, as she was going through the rundown, that she had questions come up, and so she has her own questions to ask, answers later on when we get that part of
Yes.
it.
White Dragon says the rocks came from the Bahamas. I believe that. So, and I was going to say, I love this picture, but boy, does that person have an imagination.
I thought it was great though, because one of the stories was about a tunnel that a plane was flying through.
In some ways, yes,
So yeah.
but we can't see it.
Hey,
So,
Laurie Hunsinger. How are you doing tonight? I'm going to star your questions. So definitely, do I have a banner? Okay, we'll do that one.
yeah,
I'm
and
ready to
we'll get to the
see on
questions when we get towards the end, okay?
Yeah,
Otherwise, I'll
after
just
we'll do
answer
the
all the
run,
questions. We'll
we'll
never
do
get
the
to it.
we do the program first, and then she's going to give us the information about the remote view. But we're just going to give you some general information that I could
Sure.
find on the Bermuda Triangle, which wasn't a hell of a lot, but nevertheless.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, hey, happy birthday, Laurie Huntsinger.
Yes, happy birthday.
And yeah, think about your questions.
Yeah, and you can write them down
Look
because
at
she'll
you.
star them, so we will get them answered.
Why doesn't that
What, 24? Really?
what?
Think about how old I am. You're just a kid.
Who?
Says Leah, oh my goodness, Lori, how does it feel to be 24? I'm going, 24?
Oh, she's not 24, trust me. I promise you she's not 24.
Okay.
Leah's taking the piss.
Okay.
That needs to
Oh,
go
I'm
away. We'll
still
keep
older
that
than you
there.
are, Lori. Sorry. I'm the old lady here in most cases.
Laurie and I are both water dragons. We were both born in the born in 52. I just turned 72 like Laurie. So high five it. Happy birthday, Laurie.
Yes.
Okay. So if you didn't get to watch Saturday's show, we introduced Akila B. If you haven't ever met Akila B, please go back and watch Saturday's show. She's a brilliant reader. And the next time she comes on, we'll do readings. But this time was just kind of an introduction. And she's just a joy to be around. So please, if you get a chance, go watch that. And then what else have we got? Changing Our Reality. Heather was our presenter last night or yesterday afternoon on the Wisdom Circle, which I also had technical issues. Oh well, some days, you know what I mean? And then this coming Saturday, we will have our lovely friend Valerie Bradshaw for the full moon that's on, I think, like the 15th. Full moon in Taurus, I believe. But until then, let's get started with the Bermuda Triangle. I've always been fascinated with the Bermuda Triangle. How about you guys? Ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated by it. Anyway, so for hundreds of years, the Bermuda Triangle has been synonymous with mysterious disappearances. This infamous region in the Western Atlantic Ocean, bordered by Miami. Where's my arrow? Here we go. Bordered by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, has become a household term for a place where things simply disappear. In the last century, over 50 ships and 20 airplanes have either vanished, crashed, or sunk here. Reports of unexplained occurrences in the region date to the mid 19th century. Some ships were discovered completely abandoned for no apparent reason. Others transmitted no distress signals and were never seen or heard from again. Aircraft have been reported and then vanished, and rescue missions are said to have vanished when flying in the area.
And author Vincent Gaddis coined the phrase Bermuda Triangle In the 1960s, in an article he wrote for a famous pulp magazine called Argosy.
I
I
never heard.
remember that my dad used to read Argosy all the time.
Is there? I never heard of it.
Well, at least on the East Coast, it was there. I remember it.
Mhm.
And it earned him a less than favorable reputation as someone who promoted crackpot claims and ignored normal explanations. Anybody who thinks differently, that's what they said. So, not
Yeah.
long after, our writers began to weigh in. Other writers did, propelling the region into notoriety. Now, talk of strange happenings in Triangle dates back all the way to the Age of Discovery. Christopher Columbus was sailing through the Triangle to Guahani, which is now the Bahamas, in San Salvador. And he described seeing a light shaped like a candle flame vanishing into the sea. At the same time, his compass went haywire. I can explain that. Okay. In the early 1600s, a ship famously went down off the shores of Bermuda. It was supposedly the inspiration for Shakespeare's The Tempest.
I didn't know that. That was news to me.
That's just an interesting fact.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. But it wasn't until the 20th century that the mystery began to garner more attention, especially due to the number of Bermuda Triangle accounts that surfaced. In 1918, the USS Cyclops, a vessel carrying 309 sailors, not only disappeared without a trace, but was said to have disappeared without any plausible reason. No storms had been reported that day. The 540-foot-long ship vanished, and there were no records of the crew radioing in distress. But as it was still months before the end of World War I, there was some speculation as to whether the German U-boats destroyed the vessel. In 1920, the Carol A. Deering was a schooner transporting coal from Puerto Rico to Rio de Janeiro. It successfully reached Rio, then turned around. On January, oh, sorry, yours.
Okay. And on January 29th, a lightship keeper named Captain Jacobson saw the Deering crew milling around, oddly, when it passed the lightship. Soon after, it somehow ran aground on the Diamond Shoals of North Carolina. It was found 2 days later on January 31st, and no one was on board, but the sails were set. In the 1940s, several aircraft went missing in the vicinity of the Bermuda Triangle. The first involved Flight 19 on December 5th of 1945. 5 TBF Avenger torpedo bombers carrying 14 airmen were on a standard training mission. Most of the men were trainee pilots, hoping to complete the exercise in order to graduate. They were to fly 197 kilometers east from Fort Lauderdale, then 117 kilometers north, and then 193 kilometers back west, while learning to release bombs or torpedoes.
The mission was supposed to take at least 3 hours. This routine exercise soon turned into a mad scramble to find land in safety. The flight's leader, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, was hesitant and uneasy that fateful morning. He tried to get out of the exercise, but his superiors denied his request because he lacked a good enough reason. Although they took off in good weather, the 20-kilometer visibility, the sky soon turned dark and tumultuous. Taylor radioed the base saying, "Both of my compasses are out and I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale. I don't know how far down, don't know how to get to Fort Lauderdale." Some of Taylor's transmissions were much weirder. "Everything looks strange, even the ocean," he said. "We're entering white water. Nothing seems right." When he was over the Bahamas, he thought he was flying over the Keys.
Yep. And his last transmission reported that they were going to ditch their aircraft when they ran out of gas. They were never heard from again. Search and rescue efforts did not recover any bodies or wreckages. Now, even one of the 2 seaplanes searching for them disappeared. So, anyway, On December 28th, 1948, a Douglas DST passenger airline flying from San Juan to Miami vanished. The weather was pleasant enough that day. The flight proceeded normally until communications started to act up. Airports in New Orleans picked up their transmissions, not Miami. And the towers had to repeatedly forward their messages to the correct party. No one noted changes in the weather. Eventually, the plane just stopped receiving further instructions and vanished. No bodies or wreckage ever turned up. A downed Douglas DST airliner did turn up in the triangle, but we still don't know whether that was the same craft.
Do, 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 do. In 1967, a hotel owner named Dan Burak took his friend, Father Patrick Horgan, on his cabin cruiser, the Witchcraft, to admire the Christmas lights on the Miami shoreline. The Miami Coast Guard got a distress call from Burak stating that his boat had hit something. They arrived 20 minutes later and found no one. The Coast Guard searched 3,100 square kilometers but found neither boat nor bodies. Lots of different things going on out there.
Let me write that down.
In 1970, experienced pilot Bruce Gernon and his father took off in their Bonanza aircraft and flew into an eerie electronic fog. All the navigational equipment malfunctioned as a thick fog cloud tunnel enveloped the little plane. Luckily, they managed to escape. They arrived in Miami half an hour faster than they expected. They had traveled more than 160 kilometers thanks to the tunnel's high wind speeds. Wow.
That was a timeline.
I like the fact that he wrote a book.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay. And one of the most solid explanations of the triangle's wacky weather, the likely cause of so many incidences, is the presence of the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream is a powerful ocean current running from the Gulf of Mexico along the eastern U.S. to Newfoundland. The stream's warm water interacts with the cold water from the North Atlantic, causing a quick release of moisture. This, in turn, rapidly generates storms and other intense features like waterspouts and massive waves. Simon Boxall of the University of Southampton believes that rogue waves definitely occur. The stream most carries away ship or plane wreckages at its consistent speed of 6.5 kilometers per hour. And by the end that rescue effort arrived, evidence is long gone by the time anything got there. Scientists also suggest the possible presence of underwater methane pockets. I'll try anything, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. In 2016, scientists discovered underwater gas craters with the potential to sink whole vessels. These same scientists suggested that the Bermuda Triangle could contain these craters. The triangle is home to a very deep trench called the Puerto Rico Trench and the Atlantic's deepest area, the Milwaukee Depth. While the theory is reasonable, no craters have turned up in the triangle. Alrighty then.
No gas craters, yeah.
In 1979, John Hutchison suggested something he modestly called the Hutchison effect. He recreated the thick fog by forcing different electromagnetic fields to interact. That's a question for you, Heather, that I had for you. If that was, this would explain why vessels and planes become so disoriented and why navigational equipment goes awry.
That's not the reason, but that's part of it. So, at the same time, the Bermuda Triangle is one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. The vast majority of vessels pass through each day. Remember, most things get through it just fine. The likeliest explanation is that a certain number of disappearances in such a well-trafficked region is statistically likely. The Bermuda Triangle doesn't seem to have more shipwrecks or plane crashes than comparably sized areas that are just as busy. An Australian scientist says probabilities are the leading causes of the Bermuda Triangle disappearances. And he's not the only one. And you add in the suspect weather, the iffy planes, the boat piloting, a bunch of other stuff. And Carl Kruzilnik believes there's no reason to believe that the Bermuda Triangle is a phenomenon. I'll answer that later. While the conspiracy of the Bermuda Triangle has existed for decades, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association and Lloyd's of London have long championed these ideas. It's no more than any place else, is what they're saying.
As popular in cartoons as it is to scientists, the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle or Hurricane Alley, has been the subject of both entertainment and profound fear. Covering a triangular area of approximately 500,000 square miles in the Atlantic Ocean, the Bermuda Triangle sits off the coast of Florida with its corners found at Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Over the centuries, numerous legends have been told about the region, and countless theories have been postulated, ranging from disturbing weather patterns to paranormal events, but none, thus far, have been confirmed as fact. Maybe Heather's remote viewing can give us some insight into what is really going on into that part of the Atlantic. And I'd be interested to know if anybody has ever passed in the chat has ever passed through the Bermuda Triangle. Like I said earlier, I went to Bimini and back
I think I took a flight through there
years ago, but I would think tons of flights go through there all the time.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing that came up. The things that came up, I'll talk about them first. But for instance, they were talking about the boat that hit something. Well, that was a cloaked foreign object.
Cloaked what?
Spaceship floating in the water. We are not the only one who like to watch fireworks.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
I got that this time around. Then
That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, and by the way, the guy talking to me, his name is, you'll love this. His name is Gus.
Gus?
I asked him, what can I call you? He said, just call me Gus. And I said, okay.
So you had a guide through your trip.
He was helping me through all this stuff because you're not going to stand in water or anything. And the reason the compasses go haywire, and I'll go into more detail on this, you've got to remember that through that particular area are so many different frequencies, timelines crossing, dimensions.
What do you mean we got to remember that? We've never heard that before.
I know. I'm going to talk about that later. But remember, when I mention that, you'll understand why a compass doesn't work right. It can't. Right. And it also mentioned the trench. That's the triangle trench. I forget what you said.
Yeah.
But when
Puerto Rico trench or something like that.
And when I read that, I got that it's full of crystals, not the great big giant ones that are underground in the caves. Those are special ones, but they're full of crystals. So they also cause energy, and that's part of the reason why the waters are, you have spouts, you have huge waves occasionally. It's all from the energy coming up and getting out from the crystals. So that's part of why the ocean is so different there. But anyway.
I have a question. Back to the cloaked ship that was watching the fireworks. Did they save the people in the boat and move them to a different dimension, or did they just let them?
No, they saved them. The aliens have a big respect for our human lives. Anybody that get lost in there, and I'll explain that in here, none of them die.
Oh, wow.
They go someplace else, but they don't die. Okay? They have a huge respect for human life there. So anyway.
I told you it was the alien.
Okay, so anyway, looking through everything I found, the first thing I saw when I got there is that, okay, it's in the Bermuda Triangle, there are, I don't know how many portals. There are just unbelievable numbers of portals. It's not just a portal. There's portals in, portals out. Portals going in one timeline, because some of those portals are timeline portals. Some of those portals are dimension portals. Some of those portals are just, in one case, you go in through a portal. You need to go out the proper portal to come out to be the right place. So if somebody gets
Like a
lost,
Stargate.
did a wrong turn, and went down the wrong portal, and that's where we lost some things. But we don't
Right.
lose the lives, okay? They're all in different dimensions and timelines. And if somebody or something goes missing, it's because they've entered the portal into a different dimension or timeline than they were supposed to, especially timelines. So they don't return to their current one. They're on a
Right.
different timeline, so they're not with us anymore. They're on their own somewhere else. That
Wow.
airplane that was lost and ended up making up time, a half hour early he landed.
Hmm.
He ended up being in a time portal that brought him in faster.
Right.
So, and like I said, the guide that was explaining things to me was Gus. So we need to thank him.
Thank
But
you, guys.
yeah. But remember, the triangle is a hub with many portals and intersecting timelines. And some people get caught rather than exiting where you would think they would go. They just get caught someplace else. For instance, an airplane, everybody goes together, and it's not just one. So it's true for like a ship, the whole ship is affected. The whole airplane is affected. Now, those who don't go through, generally, they're human shape, and let's see. For those who don't go through, generally lose their human shape and go towards a more ethereal body. But on rare occasions, the time simply shifts and they need care to be able to function in the new timeline. So there are people there who are helping them get used to the new timeline.
So I wonder, does that mean that there's people in this timeline that are helping people from other timelines?
Could be. Could be.
Hmm.
They went through it. They may be helping those that many end
Interesting.
up not adjusting or go for care for the rest of their lives because they can't get through it. They can't adjust, so they end up being like in a hospital or something.
Right.
Okay. And this even happens in our own timelines. Others who've gone through can't function in our timeline. So they end up we all think they're crazy.
Right.
So they end up in a hospital. They accidentally show up here from a different.
They made several movies about that.
And they're thought to be mentally ill because they come in but don't understand or adapt to the new situation that they find themselves in. So it's not just our timeline. There can be other timelines that come in too.
Sure.
So we get fire back and forth. And actually, there was a movie, and you were talking about it. The movie where a plane load of people had been removed from the timeline and then sent back. There were enough caretakers there to send them all back to the proper timeline. So they did end up landing where they were supposed to be. But they had made a wrong turn sometime. That was an interesting movie for me. So,
Wow, I forgot forgotten all about that movie.
yeah.
I'm with you, Leah, slipping into the twilight zone.
I know. But like I said, aid is given to those that can accept it and forget to go back to others, can't remain there because they cloning. So they are able, if there's somebody who can't make it, like on that ship. Now they didn't say that in the movie, but what I got was that if there's somebody who really is going bonkers, because he can't handle what's happening, they will make
Mhm.
a clone and send the clone back. So
Wow.
that it's the right number and the right people. And they
Holy guacamole.
so that doesn't happen very often. I'm going, whoa, this is really far.
So, is it truly a clone? Does the clone have a soul?
It does not have a soul, but
It can function like a
it can function like that person did, so that nobody can tell it's not him or her.
how could you not tell if it didn't have a soul?
Well, you have IT, and they if you don't really look closely, you see what you think you're gonna see.
Damn, honey, you different somehow. I'm with you, Leah. I think I recognized somebody had changed that had a soul and didn't
It's
have a
something
soul.
to you. Don't fly anymore.
Wow. Yeah,
I
no
don't.
kidding.
So anyway, not all crafts and people disappear. In fact, many don't. In fact, most of them go through with no problem. They go in
Right.
the portal that they're supposed to go in and they go out. Or they don't go into any portals at all and just fly through. But
So, how do they avoid the portals? How come the portals are there sometimes and not there sometimes?
you have to be in the right dimension, you have to be in the right time. So it depends on if it's a group of people, it depends on what their collective
Right.
everything is. So
So, even
like
those
the higher frequent ones, they're never going to get into those.
right.
And some of them don't make it into portals at all because the frequency's not right. They just fly through the triangle area. Everything is dimensional, timelines, frequencies.
Wow.
So you've got to have everything right in order to do that. That's why there aren't that many. But remember, it is a hub. So there's more likely, just like the busier areas have more accidents. This is a very busy area. It's possible to have accidents. But I do think there's probably not as many, not more accidents there than there would be any place else that was busy.
Are there beings that, try to protect those portals from being intersected with 3D?
Well, kind of, yes. What they're looking for is those that end up in the wrong place and try to get them to
So
the
they're
right
like a safe
guardian angel,
mission.
a
They're
guardian
they're
angel type thing,
they're what?
like a guardian angel. Make sure it gets where it belongs.
So they're like rescue missions.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Uh, Um, I got also that sometimes it's not a random thing, although it usually is. That there are sometimes when they um, kind of like enter the body to help that particular human do the job they need to do, or they join with them somehow.
Like a walk-in.
Mhm.
Wow.
There's certain people that, okay, have them come through here and I will jump in while they're here so that they can get the job that they need to get done
So
better.
that would be a soul contract before you came.
A what? Silicon
Soul
what?
contract. It would have been in your soul contract before you
Right,
incarnated.
right. That somebody was gonna come in and help you finish the job because
Wow.
you were going to need extra help with
That's
it.
really
There
interesting.
is or are multidimensional bases there that handle for travelers that come through. We'll never find it because it's invisible. Alien visitors and entities of different dimensions and frequencies do come to visit the Earth, and it's at this site. And from here, they kind of like beam
It's a
me
visitor center?
up.
It's a visitor center. Huh.
They can come in. There's a lot of portals there. They can come in and go, you know.
Well, no wonder there's so much activity down there. People see so many things down there.
and many visitors are here just for a very short time to do a job in the assistance of Earth, and then they go home. But they don't need to be here for a whole lifetime. They just need to be here for a short time. So they come in, do what they need to do.
I think they mixed up my instructions.
Do what they would. But like I said, we are not the only ones who like to watch fireworks. So,
That is so cute. I love that. I love that. No, they're going to Disney World.
there you go. They could be doing that too. I mean, and I know this thing sounds like a sci-fi movie. It really does. I'm going, really? This is what I'm supposed to find here.
That is so interesting.
There are entities manning the portals and keeping track of things, sort of like air traffic control.
Sure, if it's a hub.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, let me say one more sentence and I'll take any question. Okay. Remember that even if somebody disappears, in reality, they don't. This is not disappearing. They're simply not in this timeline, this dimension, or frequency. They're someplace else, but they're not dead. They didn't go anywhere. They're just going someplace else.
Wow, that's wild.
Okay, now I'll take questions.
Okay, when you're in that Bermuda Triangle area, did you see any indication that Atlantis was down there? Are there any remains of Atlantis down there?
The fact that there are so many crystals so many crystals down there in that trench, I don't think that was that's where a lot of the crystals from Atlantis ended up. They weren't placed there. It was
But
like,
they're way down deep where we couldn't have access to them.
no, you can't have access to them. And it's because of what happened with Atlantis that the waters just washed the crystals and they fell there. They weren't placed there, but there are.
But is there any indication that there are remnants of Atlantis in the Bermuda Triangle? Like any buildings or anything like that?
I didn't see any buildings, and I'm getting no.
Okay.
Not really. It wasn't very far away, but not in the triangle itself.
But not very far away.
Well, look at how big the area is that it covers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are you ready to answer their
I'll do
questions?
my best. I'll see what goes.
Okay, let's see what we got. We got some good ones. All right, Leah has a ton of questions, so we'll just go through them one by one. And are there life forms unique to that area?
In a way, they are aliens. They are unique to that area in that that's their job, but they come from someplace else.
Are there any life forms? Are there any life forms that are unique to the Bahamas? I mean, the Bermuda Triangle, though.
No. Okay. Those are all visitors there. It was developed. Diet and deities or rulership. Since it wasn't a city, not really. There are higher up in commands of everybody that's there. They it's like a military. It's not really military, but it's like military. You have those that are higher. You take orders from.
Sure.
That's all that there is.
And
people that really run it.
Is it the GFL that runs it?
Uh-huh.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. One section of them. Yeah.
Interesting. Then she's asking if there's an Atlantean connection, and I assume the answer is no.
Not really. No.
That's surprising.
The only connection is that a bunch of those crystals came from that area.
Right.
Remember, Atlantis ran by crystals.
Exactly. Will this area ever rise out of the sea, ever when a polar flip occurs?
No. It's not time for everybody to know about it yet.
Ooh, no. What is it we're not time to know about? If the area will rise or if there's a polar flip coming?
I'm not being allowed to ask.
Wow, okay.
Okay, is there an answer? And I finally asked, can I ask that question? And they
And
said,
then White Dragon, I tell you, it was the aliens.
of course it was. Is.
Leah asks, will that area ever change its magnetism?
Not as long as they're using it. Everything is so close to each other. I mean, it's a very concentrated area, and they are very careful to keep all the energies and the magnetisms as much as possible within a certain level, certain area, so that things don't. Because if somebody disappears, it's an accident. It's not
Right.
something they're planning on doing most of the time.
Right. Interesting. Was that land ever above sea level? And if so, was it inhabited?
Um, it was not inhabited, and actually, no. It's always, especially that deep trench, has always been liquid, and above it has been liquid. That's how come all the crystals ended up
Wow.
going in the trench.
Do you know what interdimensional beings or ETs are there right now? If the
Various.
L is there, it'll be all different species.
It's kind of like the melting pot. There's a whole bunch of different ones doing different jobs. They're not all the same species.
Cool. Can you be specific on any species?
They've all served on spaceships because they need to be able to have the knowledge that they acquire on the frequencies and timelines and things like that. They acquire information they need on those ships, and then they're sent down there to help regulate that. They're, as far as actual where they're from. Okay, I got Arturian and me. I can't think of the name of me, where I came from.
I don't remember.
Um, the Seven Sisters.
Pleiades.
That's it. Thank you. I can tell you all about it, but I could not think of the name. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. There are Palladians there. There are Arturians. There are some blue. I got blue in my head. Blue's there. So I don't remember what they
I
are.
thought,
But
aren't Arcturians blue?
that
Some of
maybe
the
that's why.
Pleiadians are blue.
I don't know. Those are the ones that I got. I know there are more. I just don't know the names of all of them.
Okay. Will that area ever support any life forms?
No, there's
It
too
already
many.
does. It's just not in our dimension.
Not in our dimension, but as far as what we know, there's too many crystals sending out too much energy for any real life
Oh,
there.
wow. That's interesting.
Even fish and stuff like that. There are some that go through, but they don't stay there.
Interesting. Are there any sea creatures or elementals to offer understanding of this phenomenon? No.
No,
It's really just
they really don't want to be there. There's just too much energy going on.
Is there an under ocean cave system that connects the triangle to the rest of the planet?
Yeah, but it's deeper.
I was going to say, I get that those Middle Earth tunnels where there's so much
Yeah,
traffic.
I was going to say there is, but it's so much deeper. We
Yeah.
would never find it, but it's deeper.
And then Amanda Carroll says, oh, that was Amanda too.
They don't like it.
They don't like it.
Too much energy. They don't want to stay in it. They don't stay there any longer than they have to. I mean, if they have to go across, like we go across, they do, and they try not to linger. They don't.
Interesting.
Are there old and under the water, specifically the power generator? The red one, the red one is South America, isn't it?
What, babe?
I was thinking the red crystal is in South America.
I don't remember.
I don't remember for sure, but I think that's, yeah, but it's yeah, it's South America. There are old Atlantis crystals there, but they're kind of broken up. They're not the great big giant ones like they used. They got pretty well destroyed in Atlantis.
Right.
They got washed into that trench. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay, T. Lynn's got a question. What happens to the physical body when it goes through these portals? Life expectancy change, altered to adapt, or left in limbo spiritually since we're not prepared for that yet?
Most of the times, if you're in the right place, you don't even notice anything. The physical body, if you happen to get into the wrong one and you end up someplace else, you tend to be more ethereal. You're not the human body. So
You're more fifth dimensional.
yeah, you're more fifth dimensional. You're more ethereal, but not that you can tell the difference because you kind of adapt to what it is, and you never come back.
And you've also said that they get basically treatment to help them adapt. Anybody that, yeah, that's really interesting. Well, we have one last question right now, anyway, and that's, can I ask if EV cars are bad for us? Which has absolutely nothing to do with tonight's story, but why not?
EV, what are EV cars?
Electric cars.
Get my Shimmy, yes. Shimmy, no. Are EV cars bad for us?
I got a yes with my pendulum.
And mine is saying no, so it must be just certain ones.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know. Let's see.
I think it depends on what kind of emissions the electricity is putting out. And because I know they're not made the same way. Are we always light anyway? Well,
Yeah, we're only light anyway, right?
yeah, we are. Yeah.
I didn't know the Mariana Trench south of Cuba. I thought the Mariana Trench was north. Who knew? I thought it was.
That's not the same one though, right? But
No,
that makes sense
Puerto
for it to have broken crystals in it too, because you've got that great big ocean, and let's face it, Atlantis was huge. Atlantis was huge. And the currents would carry those crystals anywhere. So that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Too much energy is why I ask. Right. All right.
Okay.
What else? Oh, sorry. That's the last one I had.
If there's any more, I sure hope. Marianos is the Pacific.
Yeah, it's in the Pacific.
So that wouldn't be Cuba.
It's the Puerto Rican one that we were talking about earlier. I think that's what they called it. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Since I moved from Florida, which was very humid, to the dry mountains of Colorado, my fingerprints don't work on any of my machines anymore.
I find that I have to use.
I've had to redo them twice.
Yeah. Yeah, especially since you dry.
The Cuba one is the Puerto Rico Trench is the one that's south of Cuba. It's the Atlantic's deepest one, the Milwaukee depth.
Yeah, it's full. It's like I said, it's full of crystals. Broken, the crystals.
That's interesting. Both are.
Mariano.
You guys, please Please hit the like and subscribe button if you don't mind, and even maybe the notification if you enjoyed the show tonight.
And I
Please
hope you did.
subscribe.
It was a different kind of viewing for me. I've never been where I'm just like sitting in the middle of nothing. I never, not in the water. I'm just kind of like I would say I supported by all these little tunnels, whatever, but I was more ethereal than I was human. And it wasn't like I was on the ground. It was just, okay, this is kind of weird. I'm in the middle of no place.
Well, because you're in your etheric body, so you're just a ball of light.
Are the other triangles connected? Like, I don't know the other triangles. So let me see if I can get an answer. Yes.
There's
That's
a
all.
triangle in Nevada. I haven't heard of that one.
They're,
Thanks, White Dragon.
by saying they're connected, I think what I'm getting is that they also have a lot of stuff going on. Just like the Bermuda Triangle with all these different portals and timelines and dimensions, everything, they also have that same problem.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But it was fun. I'm going,
Yeah,
really? This is a sci-fi movie,
that's
And
really
it doesn't
interesting.
happen as often as you would think. I mean, look at the ones that we found examples for there. It sounds like so many because we just risked them off, but that's all that you found, right?
I'm
And
sure there's more, but that's
and
all I happen
more,
to
but they were
find.
saying 50. Okay, 50 over how many years? How many
Over
hundred?
100.
Yeah.
Oil painter says there's a triangle over Lake Michigan and a Stonehenge under the water. Wow, off Grand Traverse
I
Bay,
want to see
Michigan.
that. I really, really liked the the stone formation in Ireland that we went
Who wants to go boating? Leah says.
to.
Here's another question. Does White Sands, New Mexico, have these portals?
They have portals, but not all of the timelines that we have.
Hi, Starfish Jenny. That's cool. I didn't know there was ones out. I had no idea there were some
Oh,
out
that
in
is
White
really,
Sands.
really cool. I
I'd
wish,
love to see the Stonehenge under the water.
yeah, they'd have to take me in a diving bell. I don't
Why
scuba.
would you do
I don't
that
do
when all you have to do is do what you do, remote view?
just do that. I'm
If
going,
is there any water under the Southwest Desert?
yes, there is.
Like
I don't know
where?
where that is. I'm just getting, yes, there is.
Okay. White Dragon says he worked for a guy for 13 years that worked at White Sands. He would not talk about it much.
No,
Interesting.
because he doesn't want to be thought that he's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
He
Lots of
doesn't
people
want
disappear in
to.
forests too. Absolutely, they do.
Mhm.
They do. Mount
Yeah.
Shasta has people disappear all the time in their forests.
And we were told when we were going towards the forest, we were told how far we could go and then told to go back.
Yeah,
And we went back.
and we did. We listened. Well, thanks everybody for being here tonight. Leah's asking one more question. Do beings come out of the triangle? Yeah, interdimensional beings.
Yes, they do. Because they come in there so they can go
It's
someplace
the
else
portal for that.
to get there. It's kind of like they come in there and it's like beam me up, Scotty, right to where they want to go.
That's wild.
So
Heather, thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. I love these. These are just so much fun.
I enjoy doing them. Sometimes I'm just like, really? you know. But I'm learning more and more that whatever is said to me,
Trust it.
go with it because that's what it is. When you're kidding me, right? Nope.
I love it. I love it. Thanks so much. It's just
It's
so
fun.
eye-opening. Akila says, great show, very informative. Oil Painter says, fantastic, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Starfish Jenny says, I got something great to watch later tonight. I love and Liz, it's such an amazing show. I love your work and great dynamics. Thanks so much, you guys. We love each and
Thanks.
every one of you and feel so
Yes.
blessed to have you on with our friends. It's part of
Yeah.
this community.
And you can tell I like it because ask Priscilla. When I'm doing it, I'm smiling like I did when I went to go see the soccer team in England.
That's right. Manchester United.
And I can quit smiling like that for a long, long time. I can't quit smiling when I think about that. That was so
I
much
love
fun.
that.
But it comes, I smile the same way. I can feel it. I smile the same way when I finish to travel.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, everybody go out, take care of yourselves tonight.
Hope you all voted.
Hope everybody got out there and voted. If you haven't and you still got time, get your butts out there and do it. It's so important. Save this country. Um, we don't need fascism. We need more freedom. Freedom to be women. That would be really nice to have my own free body freedom. I love that. It's going
And
to help.
we really, really love all of you. So thank you so much.
Yes, go out, self-care, send some love out to Kamala and the planet. Mother Gaia will appreciate every bit that you give her. And until Saturday, I guess we'll see you next time.
We'll see you on Saturday.
Bye-bye.